Hey guys, it's History Behind the Warrior, and welcome to another God of War video. Now, of us having covered a fair bit of the Olympus series of games, I mean, seriously, there's been a lot. In today's video, I wanted to turn our sights back to the current oncoming storm, Ragnarok. Now with the story being focused on Asgard's apocalypse and the destruction of the Nordic pantheon, I thought that today it would be an interesting case study and breakdown to understand just how strong is Odin in the God of War universe. Whilst Thor for the most part has been painted as the centerpiece of God of War Ragnarok, being foreshadowed as its main big bad, let's not take our gaze away from the Allfather himself. Whilst Thor has been branded as the bloody butchering bastard of Asgard, Odin is just as tyrannical as he is, performing horrific acts for as long as time itself. So, in today's video, we will be exploring the strength of Odin, his toolkit in the God of War universe, and just how knowledgeable is the Allfather, as he has been described by Ymir as an arrogant, conniving mastermind who wishes to bend Ragnarok to his will. But the question is he truly capable of doing it? Well, before we do start, once again guys, just before we kick things off here, if possible, let's try getting this video to about 500 likes. With the start of the new year, YouTube tends to have its really weird reset, so it does make it harder for my videos to reach many of you. So I would super appreciate it if you could just simply give this video a thumbs up. And I mean, hey, if you want to go that extra step and you like what we do here, please don't forget to subscribe and tick that bell, as it will keep you up to date with what we do here. Now, without any further ado, let's talk about Odin and what he's capable of. Now, Odin is a direct descendant of Ymir, one of the first beings to have come into existence, and the very first giant. So, in many ways, Odin is of divine heritage. Coming from a cosmic being naturally means that Odin himself wields a form of strength and power that many cannot in fact rival. A great example of his strength and will is actually him killing his ancestor Ymir. Upon the death of the giant, Odin would take the fragmented remains of the great deity and slowly but surely forge them into the planes of reality that would later become the realms. This is minus Niflheim and Muspelheim, as they already existed. But this example alone should give you an idea of the Allfather's strength to take the remains of a dead being and warp them into a living, breathing world. Along with this, shortly following the creation of Midgard, it is he who created life, ushering into existence the first humans, Ask and Embla. I mean, hell, he even did a similar thing to the Valkyries, cursing the astral beings to a mortal form so that they would turn mad. So, once again, this is yet another example of Odin's divine power. The fact that he's quite literally able to forge life into existence goes to show just how divine his godhood is. But what is godhood? I've been using that term a lot, but what does it mean? Well, not being bound by the limitations of mortality, Odin retains a form of immortality that causes him to not age, or if so, at least have him age at an extremely slow rate, as most depictions of Odin illustrate him being an elderly gentleman. Either way, he doesn't seem to be bound by the laws of time, and thus is an immortal. However, that's not to say that he cannot die. Much like the other beings in the God of War series, death is indeed possible. It just truly takes a divine being that rivals his own power to bring on his end. Brushes teeth in Fenris. But Odin's thirst for strength and knowledge was not halted after the formation of Midgard or even Asgard itself. He wanted more, and thus Odin would go to great lengths to acquire said knowledge, even in one scenario, dying for it. I say die with air quotation marks, because he didn't remain like this for too long. To obtain greater knowledge beyond his own, the Allfather would hang himself from the world tree of Yggdrasil for 9 days and 9 nights. By doing so, he would be drenched in the tree sap and use it to explore the world of the dead and the secrets that were hidden deep within the entangled branches of Yggdrasil. In time, his knowledge only grew as he became a part of it. Eventually, the world tree would spit him out, but Odin walked away with a wealth of knowledge in his mind, and a bit of madness in tow. I mean, hell, this dude was so obsessed with knowledge, he gouged out one of his eyes from Mimir's well of knowledge, and he was gonna do the other till Mimir stopped him. Kind of insane. Now, in terms of magic, Odin is downright ruthless with what he's capable of doing, whilst there are others that contest with his might. In terms of magical versatility and knowledge, he is nearly unmatched. The only being that we have seen that is capable of wielding a candle to him is Freya of Vanaheim, his ex-wife. But even then, Odin has studied in the ways of her old magic, and in time even used it against her. The thing is, with Odin, instead of using magic in ways to benefit his own realm of Asgard, he would instead use it for his own benefit and out of spite and malice. Thus, the magic itself is predominantly used as a curse of sorts. What I mean by this is that he would only use it to bitterly spite someone. A perfect example and case of this is what happened to Freya. Whilst the two were wed together and extremely close at one point in time, upon their separation, Odin would have her be incarcerated to the decrepit and dying world of Midgard, having her locked there for all of eternity. And he did this because he knew that she would be robbed of a home and a family. She would simply be left there in exile. And as mentioned earlier, even after Freya's disappearance, he went on to remove all semblance of her, even ridding Valhalla of the Valkyries out of arrogance and spite, as she used to be their queen. Another example of this is the tale of Ymir. As he became an ambassador of the 9 realms, Odin believed him to be treacherous, as he had also not forgotten how the jester had tricked him into gouging out one of his eyes. So, as punishment, Odin would curse him to a tree in Midgard, one so tough and thick that not even the likes of Mjolnir could snap its thick branches. Whilst he took this time to enjoy torturing Mimir, it goes to show just how strong the tree is, when the only way to free Mimir isn't to break the tree, but to simply decapitate and revive him. I mean, hell, to make sure that no one could reach him or interrupt their torture sessions, Odin even cast out the living curse, the Black Breath, a form of corruption magic. So, whilst this had protected the Jotunheim Gate, he mostly did this to savor the time of torturing Mimir, just to give you an idea of how petty the Allfather is. Now, in terms of combat, what does Odin bring to the table? As Thor is known for using the mighty Mjolnir at his fingertips, but what of Odin? Well, Odin wields a weapon that rivals the handling capability of Mjolnir, Gungnir. Whilst it hasn't been explored properly in game, as we've only seen teasers of it in murals, as well as a very brief mention of it in Mimir's tale about the Lord of the Hanged, we do know that this is a weapon that has become iconic for the Allfather, and there is a reason as to why. Being known as the spear that never misses, it helped allow Odin to become a reckoning force on the battlefield. But how did this come to be? Well, in actual Norse mythology, not the game, the blacksmith dwarven brothers, Brock and Sindri, were in a competition with each other against other blacksmiths to prove their worth to the mighty gods of Asgard. Each team were to make gifts to the gods, so that by the end of it, the winners would be blessed with the glory of Asgard. So, by the end of this tournament, and after much struggle, as Loki tried to interfere in their forge, Brock and Sindri were not only able to forge Mjolnir, but also Gungnir. So, from what you can tell, their names would become legend, as they earned the respect and trust of Asgard. But what of the game counterpart? Well, it is actually very different. From what we know in the game world, it is Odin that seeks out Brock and Sindri so he can order the Dwarven brothers to forge a gift for his son. So no competition is held unlike its mythological counterpart, and in many ways could raise questions about whether or not such a weapon like this actually does exist. But again, we have seen a bit of a tease of it in murals, so I definitely wouldn't count out the spear, as it has become iconic for the Allfather. And whilst we are on the topic of iconic tools in Odin's arsenal, let's talk about Sleipnir. For those of you unfamiliar with the name, this was Odin's holy steed that the Allfather would ride into battle across the sky, vanquishing all that lied in front of him. But the question here is, what makes Sleipnir so special? Well, outside of being a magical divine horse of Odin that could soar across the sky in its 8 legs, Norse mythology is weird. Sleipnir is in fact one of Loki's many children in Norse mythology, having at one point turned himself into a mare to be impregnated to avoid punishment by the gods. Loki would go on to give birth to Sleipnir, and it would become a valuable asset to Asgard. While Sleipnir hasn't been mentioned after this point, we do know that he does fall into the care and possession of Odin, and upon seeing its incredible strength, as well as the speed of the stallion, Odin would adopt him as his war steed into battle. So technically, if you think about it, Odin rides his grandson into battle. Alright, you know what? I think we are done with today's video. I hope you enjoyed this one, guys, as it's a pretty compact and knowledgeable video for those of you who may not be familiar with Norse mythology. Apologies if this got really weird during the end of it. I'm gonna be honest, whilst this is scripted out, I had no idea just how strange the origin of Sleipnir got up until now, so I'm kind of regretting it. Yeah, yeah. God's fucking weird. Stop banging everything. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. And once again, I do hope you have enjoyed this video, and it's given you a rough idea of what to expect from Odin in God of War Ragnarok. I'm also very happy to let you know that for next week's video, I will be doing one that actually seemingly ties the world of the Norse gods to the Greek gods. So it's going to be a pretty fun exploration of the two pantheons, and how I personally believe Odin may have in fact been tied to the destruction of Olympus. But for now, guys, this has been it for me. So, as always, stay strong, stay well, and keep on fighting as Ragnarok comes for us all. Take care, everyone. See you soon.